I am still in shock with what happened yesterday. Hi, and welcome to Flawsome Talk. I'm Sashti Flo, and here on my channel, you know what I'm talking about. If you're new, I do talk a lot about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal feud, and it's getting worse and worse. And it seems like now Blake Lively digged her own grave. I'll get back to that shortly. I just wanted to thank you all so much for your donations to my legal fund. As you know, I had to hire a lawyer to defend myself against the subpoena that Blake Lively sent to Google, to YouTube, to get all my personal information and share it with the world, because that's what they keep doing. They keep doxing people. They keep sharing people's personal information, even though they ask for anonymity, which recently happened as well. So I really, really appreciate everything that you do for me. Even if you just watch my videos, even if you just watch the entire commercials on here, that really means a lot. And comment, share. I do have a link to the PayPal account if you feel like you want to contribute more. But in general, I'm just really, really happy that you're here. All right. So this new move from Blake Lively just backfired so enormously that I have no words. I am still in shock with what happened yesterday. First of all, one of the creators sent a motion to quash by herself. It's called pro se. When you do it by yourself, you don't hire a lawyer, and she killed it. And she was complaining to the judge to say, you know, I want to stay anonymous, and that should be an option for everyone. If they don't want their real name out there, we should be able to file these anonymously. And the judge approved. He says now that if you're a creator, one of the now 43 creators that have received subpoenas, because yesterday Blake Lively also sent subpoenas to 7 TikTok users. So now there are 16 YouTubers, 20 X users, and 7 people on TikTok. So now if you want to fight that, you can do that anonymously. You don't need to put your real name in the filing, but you do need to file an extra document to tell the judge that you intend to stay anonymous. But that's great news. And also great for this creator who did this for all of us. So anyways, so many things happened yesterday, as I said. And one of the things, I could not wrap my head around this, because I was like, why would Blake Lively's team want this information to become public? Okay, so you know TAG, Talent Agency Group, that's run by Melissa Nathan. They were subpoenaed by Blake Lively's team saying that they were running this smear campaign, blah, blah, blah. So TAG responded to Blake Lively's team with not giving them that much information, but they did give them names of people they had been communicated with from the press and content creators. They marked that document attorney's eyes only, meaning that only Blake Lively's attorneys could see the names. That's why I don't understand why Blake Lively's team wanted this to become public. Because for the last few days, a lot of pro-Blake creators have been like screaming out loud saying that all the content creators that are subpoenaed now are on this list that TAG sent to Blake Lively's team.
I was thinking, why are these creators not pissed at Melissa Nathan and TAG if she used them to pump out this misinformation that's been going around, or defame Blake Lively with statements that aren't true, or be part of the retaliation and PR smear campaign by posting these videos of Blake Lively doing a shitty interview from 10 years ago, or talking about her wedding, which was, God, how many years ago now, that everyone knew happened. Like, it's just really odd to me that they're not mad, that they're not outraged that this PR crisis manager may have used them.
And guess what? They're not. We are not. Because yesterday, one of Baldoni's attorneys sent a letter to the judge saying that, you know, we are okay with you revealing the names of who TAG has communicated with from the press and of influencers, because we want to prove that there's no smear campaign. And so the judge let everyone see who these people are. And guess what? They're a bunch of mainstream media journalists and their names Most of them have been writing pro Blake Lively content. They've been painting her as a victim. And the only communication that they had with Tag and Melissa Nathan are when they reached out to them for statements. By doing this, they admit that they have absolute no reason to subpoena any of us. Where did they get our names? There is no reasoning here why we should be dragged into this. No one has pointed us out as being, cooperating with anyone here. So on this list, interestingly enough, you have Daily Mail and you have TMZ, CNN, Elizabeth Bogmeister, GMA, Good Morning America, Monica Escobedo, Variety, three people at Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, E! News, people who you know are in Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's pocket, New York Post, Business Insider, Deadline, POC, LA Times, As Weekly. And then you have four influencers. Do More, which is on Instagram. I've been reading some of their posts and they've been extremely pro Blake Lively, which I found interesting. And so many people have sent their posts to me saying, like, hey, why are they so pro Blake? Then you have Billy Bush, who I don't know. I don't think he's been subpoenaed or his YouTube has been subpoenaed. Candace Owen and Perez Hilton. And as this lawyer is pointing out, it's only one of these people who's been on the YouTube Google subpoena list. I know Candace Owens and Paris Hilton have both been subpoenaed, but I don't know if any of them have actually received the Google subpoena. I don't think Perez has, so then it leaves Candace Owens, I guess. This just proves that they have zero evidence of any smear campaign and that they're just trying to build one in retrospect. Why does Blake Lively want this to become public? That was my big question here, because it completely destroys her case. I think the reason might be that Blake Lively now is forced to turn over her business income and share her and Ryan's financial disasters and how he has spent millions of dollars on her brands with no return of investment. All her brands have been failing, and it's interesting because when you look back in time, Blake Lively never really had a successful brand. That means bad press for Ryan Reynolds and bad press for Blake Lively. Because as you know, Ryan Reynolds has built his empire on being this amazing marketing guru. And now we realize, oh, he messed up with every brand that he was trying to build for his wife, Blake Lively. So what they're doing now is shifting the narrative away from that and saying, hey, look over there. All these journalists were on that list, pretending to paint a picture of these people being involved in a smear campaign, which is absolutely not true, as I said, because most of them are representing outlets that have painted Blake Lively consistently as a victim. This is basically a press list. And I'm sure if you ask Blake Lively's team who they've been communicating, it's all the same people. I find it so hard to understand why Ezra Hudson wanted this to become public. I mean, if you can come up with any other better ideas about why they're doing this, please leave a comment in the comment section. If there's something I'm missing here, I just think this is the dumbest thing ever. I just don't understand how Ezra Hudson could do such a stupid thing. Blake Lively's entire case is about to collapse on this. We've also been informed now that Blake Lively has gone after 7 TikTokers. This list is even more ridiculous. I was trying to make sense of some of these. This is one of them. I'm just going to give you 2 examples of what she's going after here. There's one user called Leslie G, who is a DV survivor. And I watched her 2 posts that she did about It Ends With Us, the movie, when it came out. She had one viral post where she posted the difference between Justin Baldoni and how he promoted the movie compared to Blake Lively. And she said in the caption, both actors did a great job in their roles, but the difference in their press tour spoke very loud about their views on the movie's real issue. That's smearing Blake Lively, according to Blake Lively. She has another video where she just says that the movie had a deeper meaning to her because she's a survivor herself. Then there's another user here called Lily Lisa. She only has 9 videos. So she doesn't post much, obviously, at all. And she had one video where she talked about meeting Blake Lively back in the day when she was shooting Gossip Girl. And she talked about how she was waiting all day with some of her friends on the sideline, and all the other actors came up. They were super nice to her. But then Blake Lively just ignored them the entire day. Like this story that we heard so many times from everyone who's been in an encounter with Blake Lively. That's the only video she did about that. She's also subpoenaed. So this just like proves to you what kind of people Blake Lively is going after. I don't know if she's trying to prove that these people are bots, but it's just madness. There's also this post that I saw some people commenting on, that there's a minor who has been subpoenaed. I don't think that's true, actually, because this username on this minor, I could not find that on the list of anyone from YouTube, TikTok, or on Twitter or X. So I think this is maybe someone just like having a little bit of fun. I don't know, but I could not get confirmation about this. So I would take that one with a grain of salt. Also in the news, which was picked up so fast by everyone, by the way, compared to the story about the content creators who's been dragged into this and, having to spend their own money in defending themselves against Blake Lively. This story was everywhere in like seconds. So this is about the insurance company that Justin Baldoni and Wayfair used for It Ends With Us, and they're refusing to pay their legal bills for this big lawsuit now. And now they sued the Wayfair party because they refuse to pay up. It says here, It Ends With Us, insurer files lawsuit, says it doesn't have to pay Justin Baldoni's legal fees, basically because they're claiming that the SH started before their agreement started with Wayfair. So they're saying that her claims are from before they had this agreement. They're all clinging on to technicality so they don't have to pay this. I understand it's a lot of money. So if they can find a way out of this, that's what insurance companies does. So if they refuse to pay this, then it gets back to Sarowitz and Wayfair and the people involved, which is terrible for them. This is like, we're talking millions of dollars here, 2 digits, millions of dollars by the end of this lawsuit. So this is really awful for them. And another lawsuit, which they have to defend themselves against and spend money on that too. This is like everything. Just a reminder again, all of this is happening because Blake Lively cannot accept the fact that people don't like her. And finally, you guys, someone is actually speaking up. I've been waiting for this for so long. And now we have a famous person here. His name is Omid Jalili. You might not have heard about him, but he's a British actor and comedian, producer. He's done a lot of stuff. Just check him out on IMDb. And he is going after Blake and Ryan on X. And I'm so excited that someone is really finally standing up against them and actually being critical of what they've been doing. Because as you know, Hollywood's people are such cowards. So we haven't heard from anyone yet, except some of the people close to Justin Baldoni that worked with him that said these things never happened. But this guy, he's on fire and he's telling the truth. Just listen to what he says here. He says, it's time to speak out. I don't usually in such cases, apart from the odd joke here and there, but the Baldoni Lively case has taken a very dark turn. It's definitely not Amber versus Johnny, and never was. It now involves us all and is way more serious than gossip columnists would have you believe. Then he recaps the timeline of everything that has happened. And then he says, this has massive implications on free speech, attempting to stifle and chill voices who are simply interested in the case and commenting on it. These people are now being dragged into federal court. Fortunately, they are all firing back, and the previously silent mainstream media are now saying, when you demand IP addresses and PayPal receipts from hobby vloggers, you risk being seen as mugging the First Amendment in broad daylight. He's quoting something that was said by a PR specialist in the Daily Mail. He continues to say the big issue here is privacy trust with social media platforms giving up personal information to people like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds so they can bully and threaten them away from the cameras. This is disgusting. And why they're doing this, Blake Lively seems to be her own worst enemy. This is a strategy that can only blow up in her face. Ryan, too. Believe it or not, I like these two, or did, but this behavior has shown us who they are. No one should be fearful of speaking out against the actions of rich and privileged actors who continue to behave disgracefully with impunity. They cannot use mainstream media to control their false version of events and then punish social media users when the public goes against their narrative, seeded through high-profile media outlets. Shame on Blake and Ryan's law firm for issuing these cowardly subpoenas. If you want to subpoena me for saying so, go ahead, make my day. Especially when we all know, even you, that the real culprits are staring at themselves in the mirror. And then there's this picture of Blake and Ryan staring in the mirror. Thank you, Omid Jalili, for saying this. This is so spot on. And I'm so happy to see that someone really finally has the guts to stand up and tell the truth here. Because as you know, mainstream media is not willing to do it, because now when they're sitting here with eggs on their faces, knowing that they were wrong all along and that Blake Lively was lying to everyone, they don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit that they were being used as well. So they will never probably tell us the truth. Anyways, that's it from you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And again, thank you so, so much for all the support that you've been giving me and other content creators. We really need you more than ever right now. So watch everyone, like, share, and comment on people's posts and on people's videos on YouTube, on X, on TikTok, and show your support that way. It means so much. And yes, thanks for subscribing. And if you haven't yet, please do, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Floss and Talk. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.